All right, guys, welcome back. Happy New Year, however you want to put it. First time we've seen everybody here in one place, almost everybody. We're missing one tonight, but anyway, Happy New Year, and welcome back to the show. And Dina, you've had an eventful week, and we'll let you talk about that, but great to have you back.
Yeah, it's first show of the 2021 season. We've got lots to talk about. We got a lot going on, so I'm ready to talk some high school sports.
Well, we're certainly going to get to that. Got a 30-minute show, give or take, tonight. I know we got some basketball coming up later this evening. A lot of people will be tuned in to watch. Tyler, you were telling me you've been in and out of some quarantine. How's everything with you? I know I was at your house and visited with you and your dad a couple weeks ago. It seems like it's been a year ago, just the way everything's been going this new year. But how's everything in Kannapolis?
It's going pretty well. So I just got back on the basketball court today. I missed the first 2 games of the season, so I was a little disappointed about that. But I'm excited to get to play this week, Thursday and Friday, and for the rest of the season. And I'm also really excited for high school football coming up next month.
You and me both. Chelsea, you got to see a superstar, and I know you're getting to see me right now through the TV, but I mean a real bona fide superstar, Allen Iverson, last night. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so last night I went to the Word of God versus Combine game, which was a crazy matchup. And this guy walks in. I'm like, hey, that kind of looks like Allen Iverson. Same tattoos, everything, but just wasn't sure because he was acting, real cool. And then checked Twitter. Someone said, thanks for coming to the game. I was like, yep, that's got to be him. But
you didn't go up and try to get your picture with him?
No, he was in and he was out.
Yeah, most of the time, those big guys, they try to sneak in and out, and they don't want anything to do with anybody. And yeah. I get that. I totally understand that. Hey, going down to Jacksonville, Jack, tell me how basketball season's going. I know you've been hitting the hardwoods at Richlands High School. Just tell us how that's going.
It's been good. I mean, it's just great to have high school basketball back. Our varsity team actually has not been able to play a game yet. They got into quarantine a few days before our first game. But JV, we've had a great time. Unfortunately, we've lost 2 straight on a buzzer beater and another close game. But I think we have some great pieces, so we'll figure it out. But it's just great to be back on the court and get to go watch some games too. So I'm just glad high school basketball is back. And like Tally said, high school football is back next month.
Well, what's your best move on the basketball court? Are you a passer? You play defense? A good shooter?
Probably clapping on the bench. That's my best move.
Hey, every team needs one of those guys. I knew a little bit about that in my day as well, so it's all good. Somebody that didn't spend a lot of time on the bench is Miss King. You had a really eventful weekend, driving all the way across 3 states down to the Sunshine State, to Florida, my second home, to Bradenton, to IMG Academy. I'm anxious to hear about this because hadn't really had a chance to talk about how the national Vto Combine went. So why don't you fill us in?
Well, like you said, it was the Vto Sports All-American Challenge. They had 225 kids from all over the country, California, New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Texas, and then you've got your Florida kids and a lot of North Carolina kids traveled down to Bradenton and were very successful. A lot of the North Carolina kids came back with a lot of honors. So great. It was a 2-day event, had 2 sessions on Saturday, and then the that kind of was like they divided them in teams and had team competition, and then on Sunday they had a huge 7-on-7 tournament with pool play, and then they had a championship bracket, and then for the linemen they had offense defensive lineman challenge. So everybody was involved. The main thing that I got from the camp was, there were a lot of kids and they were having fun. And I've seen so much stuff go on the last months or so. They were just having fun and just happy to be out and to compete. So it was great. I can't wait to go back. Had a good time. Just didn't really like the driving, and I'm not a flyer. Never flown in a plane, so that trip may cause me to start flying.
Well, I've driven all over the country and really all over the world for that matter. Taking a long road trip is nothing for me, and I really enjoy that. So what was so rough about it? Just to sit in your seat that long, or did you get speeding tickets, anything crazy like that?
No, I'm a speed limit person. One really positive thing is I don't know if it's just North Carolina, but in Florida, when I got in Florida, all the radio stations were 80s, and it was playing my kind of music. Brought me back into old, the old good oldie times that I used to have, like in high school and college. And so, yeah, just probably just being tired because I really didn't get to do a lot of sightseeing. I did make a point to go early Saturday morning and see the Gulf of Mexico. I better get this in because the Saturday and Sunday was so, action packed and stuff. I didn't even have time to do any sightseeing. I probably spent 75-80% of the time at ING at the football facilities.
Now, I got to stop you for 1 second. I got to go to the guys, to the panel for this question. You mentioned something. Now, when I grew up, and you and I are about the same age, when somebody said they were listening to oldies, I was thinking like 50s and 60s music. All right, to you guys who are still in high school, when you think of oldies, I need to know what you're referring to.
50s, 80s.
Probably like 70s and 80s.
Yeah. Maybe even 90s.
Well, listen, I can't believe you got
Starting in the 80s is like the 80s is the end of like the old times.
We've not been like I said, this has been our first show because of the Christmas and New Year's holidays, but I did pass a milestone. I on January 5th I did turn 50, so I guess I'm officially a oldie.
And on the other side of the hill now.
Yeah.
Although I'm planning on living beyond 100, so hopefully when I get 50, I'm still going up. But you never know. We know that no day is promised. But I still listen to 60s music, and I love 60s music. And I think all you guys ought to tune into like Sirius on 6 or something like that just to hear it. But back to IMG, I hear that place is so nice. It even has a hotel on campus.
That's where we stayed at the Legacy Hotel on IMG. I don't know. It's huge. I don't know exact acres. It could be 200 to 300 acres of just a lot of athletic facilities. They have a huge football stadium, a huge field house, and then they got several football fields that they can do other things. And one thing that's funny is you'd think their main field would have turf. They've got a turf field in the middle of all these other fields, but I saw green grass. We don't see green grass up here in the wintertime. It all turns that brown, you know.
I know.
So, but soccer fields everywhere, baseball and softball fields everywhere. I seen people out there playing lacrosse. It was, and you know, IMG's become a basketball powerhouse too. So they've got it all going on down there. It's very, very nice. And if you're ever in Bradenton, I would just go by and check it out. They do have a gate there, so you kind of have to go through the security. But it's really nice. I really enjoyed it.
We got a coach asking Dina, Coach Morton Samick at Rollsville High School, wanting to see how his quarterback did, Byron Brown. Do you recall what he did during the combine?
Yeah, I saw Byron. I saw his dad as well. He was one of that large contingents from North Carolina that went down to Florida and did very well. So, like I said, all these kids, they were really having fun in all the team competition. I mean, some of these kids will probably never see the other ones ever again. I mean, you had California kids, New York kids, but they all come and they all gelled and there was no problems and they just had a lot of fun and great competition and it was a fun time. Just a little cooler than I thought it would be in Florida. I was hoping 70 and 80 degrees, and the one time I go to Florida, it's 55.
Coming from somebody that lived in Florida, not every day is tropical like people would think, and it does get chilly sometimes in the winter. We do have an interview. You spoke to a good athlete from Heritage High School. Tell us who you spoke with, and we'll get to this clip here in a second.
I spoke to William Hawkins, who's a wide receiver, class of 2022 from Heritage, starting to get on some radars at school, kind of like a lot of kids that he has one offer from Florida International, but he's, this COVID issues kind of hindering his recruitment because he can't go on campus and coaches can't see him. So I look for him to start getting some offers, hopefully when we start playing this February.
All right. Well, let's go to the interview and see what this young man's got to say.
King NC Preps here at the Vto Sports All-American Challenge here at ING in Bradenton, Florida. And we got William Hawkins at 22.
Yes, ma'am.
Wide receiver from Heritage High School. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How about you?
Doing good.
Yes,
what are you hoping to do today?
Just hoping to, come out here and just showcase my talents, just do the best I can, all while having fun, and just show everybody that I'm one of the best receivers, not just in the state, but in the country.
Recruiting wise, what are you hearing? What schools are you hearing
Mostly
from?
I'm hearing from Wisconsin, Duke, Coastal. I had South Carolina, Stanford, and I've had State, Carolina. And those are mostly the ones I hear from too. And then I hear from, of course, Tulane, Army, and like those American Conference schools like ECU. Those are the schools that I really heard from a lot.
Any official offers?
Yes, ma'am. I have an offer from Florida International University.
And Heritage has had a history of putting a lot of kids at the Power 5 off.
Yes, ma'am.
Power 5 level. What are you guys expecting this year at Heritage?
Of course, we're expecting to, when we play in the ring, to take it all the way. But I just feel like that we have great coaching, we have great players, and I just feel like together, if we just come together and do our thing that I know we can do, I feel like we can take it all the way.
What would a college get in a player, William Hawkins?
Well, first of all, they're going to get someone that gives their all, but not just on the field, but I feel like in the classroom, just being like a good person, because it's not, to me, all about football. It's all about, academics, life after football. But of course, what type of person you are, I feel like I'll be a great person for of course, the program and just be a role model, and I just feel like I wouldn't just be bringing anything athletically to the table, but also academically, just having a great character, being a great person.
All right, there we go. Took a second. Great interview, Dina. Great young man. And Heritage is one of those programs that has had some really good looking athletes move on to the next level. I look at the job Ricky Person's done at NC State, one that stands out in mind immediately. But they really could have a good season this spring.
Yeah. The Raleigh area is really, Chris, a lot of it was like back in the few years, everything was Charlotte. Raleigh is starting to, you've seen with Wake Forest having their run, and then you've got Roseville that is kind of new. Heritage is new. Leesville Road has always been a good program down there, and so the Raleigh area schools are being very competitive.
Absolutely. And when you've got a population base as big as it is, it was only a matter of time before, it really beefed up in stature when it comes to football. And I only anticipate it getting better. But anyway, Dina, well, great job. Appreciate you kind of bringing us up to speed on that, because I know that was such a huge deal to be able to go down to Florida, especially to IMG. Everybody knows about that program. So cool deal. Well, we got some other guys that put in some good work for us this week. I want to just let one of you guys raise a hand. Anybody want to go first? Any volunteers?
I'll go first.
All right, Tally. That's what I like to hear. You always seem to go last anyway, so by the time you go first. Tell us who we've got on the interview, and just kind of give us a little bit of a lay of the land of what's going on.
Okay, I interviewed Macy Bullard. She's a freshman from Northern Guilford High School. She's a freshman on the varsity team, plays for USA Beach and indoor volleyball. She has like a really cool personality. She's into a lot of stuff, so I thought it'd be really cool to interview her.
Wow. And I kudos for going outside of your area as well. Going up to the Triad, that's a good reach for you. And that's really good interviewing skills right there. So kudos for me. Well, let's listen to see what this young lady's got to say, and we'll talk to you here on the other side.
Well, welcome back to this week's show. I'm here with Macy Bullard from Northern Guilford High School. She's a 2024 right side hitter, and she plays for USA Beach and indoor volleyball. Macy, how would you describe your game when it comes to volleyball?
I'm a very aggressive player, and I like to be as loud as possible because it just really helps the team come together and like work as one, and it's just a really cool thing.
Yeah. Communication is definitely important in volleyball, and those relationships you have with your teammate as well. Tell us about your experience as a freshman on varsity and how that shaped you as a player.
It's been really fun. Like all the upperclassmen really took me in and made me one of their own, and it's really helped like challenge my leadership skills and just like being able to like find my voice and still become a leader on the team, even though I'm one of the younger players.
Yeah, and no doubt when you get up to that upperclassman position, you're gonna already have those skills. That's awesome. Have you begun the recruiting process, and do you want to play in college? And if you have, what has it been like?
I have started it, but the rules are different, so we can't talk to coaches directly until summer before our junior year. But I've been like talking through my club coach, like to schools, and it's been good. It's hard to like.
Yeah, definitely. I play travel. I've played showcase softball, and I couldn't talk to coaches before my junior year, so I know exactly what that's like. And trying to communicate between coaches, it's hard. What is one thing that sets you apart from other athletes on the court?
I think my attitude. I always try to stay positive and not be down on my teammates because that just doesn't really help anything. And then, yeah, that's it, I guess.
Okay. Tell us about your Northern Guilford team, what strengths and weaknesses you have, and what your schedule has been like.
We're a very solid all-around team. Like our serve receive is very good. And we have a few really big girls that are really aggressive, and we have one that's committed to play in college for D1. Then, what was the other question? Sorry.
Just what your schedule's been like and how practice and everything has been going with COVID.
It's been good. We haven't had to quarantine or anything, or we haven't had any cases, so that's been good. And we are 7-2, I think, so we're doing pretty good this year.
Awesome. Who is your biggest role model and why?
Probably both of my parents, because they're so hardworking and they just like provide so much for me and sacrifice so much.
Yeah, mine too. What is one piece of advice you would give to the next generation of volleyball athletes?
Always work your hardest, and you can never be too good.
Awesome. And my last question, just want to get to know you. What's something you do like outside of volleyball that kind of makes you interesting?
I love to wake surf and wakeboard and do a bunch of like lake sports.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, that's all I have for you tonight, and I'm really thankful that you showed up, and we wish you the best of luck with Northern Guilford and just continuing in the recruiting process.
Thank you.
Hey, great job, Taylor. Hey, sorry the video quality kind of messed up there on me putting it in, but great job. And one thing I want to just note from your interview skills and is that you pulled from your own experience and your own recruiting path into the interview. And that's one of the things I think so cool about what you can do, and really all of you guys to pull from your own experiences to not only translate that into the interview you're doing, but just to kind of give us a glimpse of the life that you've experienced as well. But terrific job. I can't wait to see who you got on tap next week.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I'll have to figure that out.
Hey, we got. I guess we hit you a day early this week. So you got about 8 days to figure it out, but I know you'll do a great job. I have no question with that.
Yeah, maybe I'll get a basketball player in there. I haven't got one of those in a while.
Well, listen, we'll see how it comes out next week. Great job. Chelsea, we're going to go up to Raleigh and talk to you now. Tell us a little bit about what you've had going on. Just great holidays and just moving through here into the new year. And tell us a little bit about who you decided to interview this week.
Yeah, so just this year of 2021 and now having the media pass, I find some public school games to go to, and I enjoy those Word of God games. But I go to Sanderson, and Millbrook's kind of our rival school. But putting rivalry aside, I will say that both their women's and men's basketball programs are amazing. So I interviewed Rachel Douglas a few weeks ago as one of my earlier interviews. And I know they also have senior Kiara Rimberg, who's an Illinois commit who I interviewed. She plays with a really great AAU team, Triangle Lady Knights. So I just thought I'd reach out to her and ask her about being an Illinois commit in this upcoming season.
Sweet. Well, let's check it out, and we'll talk to you here in just a second.
All right. Okay, welcome back to the Rundown by Chelsea Sipple with NC Preps, and here I'm interviewing Kiana Rimbart from Millbrook Women's Basketball. She's a senior class of 2021 and an Illinois commit, and you also play with Triangle Lady Knights AAU. So an amazing senior, an amazing player. I'll get started with the first question. And starting off with your accomplishments through your high school basketball years, tell us about a few of those and what they mean to you.
My freshman year, I had first team all conference for the entire conference. I had that all 3 years, and I plan to get it again this year. I also got MVP for most tournaments that we went to. And
awesome. And then going into your senior year and with less than a week until games, what are you and the Millbrook team looking to accomplish?
We're trying to just get in our rhythm again because COVID has hit. So some people haven't been working out over the summer. So we're just trying to get back into a rhythm and get to where we were.
All right. And so Millbrook is such a successful program for women's basketball. Just describe what makes you guys so successful and what the culture is like there.
Many of the girls work out together and play basketball together. So they're together all the time. So just being together makes it easier to play with each other.
Yeah. And so obviously the season is so different with COVID. Have you guys just remained prepared? And what has your practice workout schedule been like?
It's a lot of individual training and practices. last year before COVID hit, I could ask the coach, hey, can you open the gym for me so I can get exercise up? But now with COVID, we're not allowed to do that. So I go to a gym by myself instead.
And then being an Illinois commit, discuss what made the program the right program for you and just the commitment process.
They've been recruiting me for a while. And before COVID really came anywhere in the United States, I had the opportunity to go see them play. Mm-hmm. And I was close enough on the bench where I could hear the coach telling them to be aggressive, attack, and shoot. And I just loved that. And I wanted a coach that would be able to let me play my game and let me be aggressive because I'm an aggressive type of player.
Yeah. And then the final question is, I think you guys released your schedule to the public. I just saw that. What's one game or matchup that you guys are looking forward to?
I'm definitely ready for Southeast.
Yeah.
Of course, because of COVID, we had to push the game back. But when we play them, that's the top game that I'm looking forward to. And I think that everyone's looking forward to. Yeah, for sure. Well, those are all the questions I have. Thank you so much for joining. And for those watching, this is Kiana Renbart from Millbrook Women's Basketball, Illinois commit. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you.
I love the flexing she does in there, and I love the expectation to be all conference again and everything, and just what she's put out there. Just great athlete, and great to see the confidence coming out of her as well. Chelsea, a great job. I was going to ask you guys, and Jack included. We haven't had a lot of basketball because there's some teams that haven't played. There's some teams in quarantine and some things like that. But have any of you guys, I know you've been watching the hoop season, any team standing out to you, anybody surprising you, anything you've taken notice of here in this opening couple weeks of the basketball season, or opening week, I guess?
I would say public school wise, the biggest game for public school has definitely been the Farmville Central South Granville game. And Farmville Central right now is probably looking like the best team out of all the public schools. They totally dominated that game. And with North Mech, they had a close win against West Charlotte. So, I mean, it's the opening week, so you can't totally judge the teams off one or two games. But right now, Farmville Central, they killed Green Central, who usually has a good program, even though they only had 7 players playing that game. But they killed them. And then they killed it. I think it was like a 12-point game, but South Granville never had the lead in the game. So Farmville really has stuck out for the first week of public schools.
Cool. What about up in the Triangle area, Chelsea? Any teams up there you've had a chance to see this week?
Most of our games have been postponed between like Millbrook, Leesville, all the Cap 7 games. Maybe a week and a half ago, I did see a live stream of Millbrook versus South Granville, and it was a good game to see, to get a look at Bobby Pedford and Eric Vanderheiden. So I look forward to seeing Millbrook play, and then when they do have games.
Yeah, that was a good scrimmage. Eric Vanderheiden has been really good for Millbrook. He gets a lot of hate to be a big player like that, just because a lot of people don't like his game because he's 6'8" and doesn't really use his height down low. He kind of stays outside, but he's really played really well this year. I think in that South Granville scrimmage, he had like 25 and 20. I mean, he's averaging a double-double for sure. So Millbrook is definitely probably the best team out of Raleigh for public schools for sure.
And Tally, I'll throw it to you. How have your teams been able to play a game yet at A.O. Brown? And I was going to ask how things seem to be going. You bring in one of, if not one of the best coaches in the state, especially in Western North Carolina, and Coach Poplin over there to A.O. Brown. How's that been working for the Wonders teams?
We've had 2 games this past week against the new West Cabarrus team. So I have no expectations from West Cabarrus. I don't know how good they were supposed to be. Our girls' team struggled a bit. We also had 3 players that were volleyball players like me out. So we only had 7 varsity players come. But as far as the boys go, they took 2 tough losses this past week. I know that they had a we have a lot of kids like transfer to private schools every year. We had Amari Haney, I think that was last year before basketball season. Amari Haney left. Kenai Briggs actually left for a minute and then he came back, but they took 2 losses this year. But I'm sure that Coach Poplin will get them in order real quick. So I'm excited for the rest of the season.
Kenai Briggs is really, really good. And when Haney left for Moravian, if those two had stayed right there, that would be one of the best duos in North Carolina. I know he was supposed to go to Moravian, but then he came back to A.L. Brown. So hopefully they'll get it going because Kenai is really, really good.
He is, and he's definitely been the star of the show this past week. I think he dropped, I don't know, it was high 20s in one of the games this past week.
Yeah, one of the video clips, by the way, of A.L. Brown coming in is of he playing last year. Great guy. In fact, I personally think he's got Division I football talent, but he's just never really moved back to there since playing there in middle school.
He posted on his I think it was his Snapchat story a screenshot of a Twitter message from Yale football. They reached out to him, and he hasn't played football since I don't think middle school. I
think 8th grade maybe. I had some conversations with some D1 coaches about him last year, and Coach Newsom would tell me, when the big schools come to look, they see him in the weight room, and they would always talk to him, thinking that he was a football player, but he just didn't. But sometimes guys just play basketball, and that's cool. Jack, we got one interview left. I know you mentioned Farmville Central a second ago. Looks like you caught up with their coach this week. Give us a quick recap of that.
Yeah, so I know Coach Williford pretty well. He's really cool. So I went to the Farmville game in person. Like I said, it was an awesome game between NC State commit Traquavion Smith and Louisville commit Bobby Pettiford. But Farmville really dominated the game it seemed like they had 7 players on the court at all times. Their guards are super fast. Leonte Moy dominated the paint. So they really dominated the whole game. So I wanted to talk to Lario about what his game plan was going into the game and what he thought during the game was helping his team to get the big win.
Yeah. Hey, you see the question for you, Jack. I don't know if you need me to read it for you or not, but I wanted to know how playing with the mask is. And really, Tally, I'd like for you to chime in as well because I know you've played volleyball with it. And Jack, go ahead and go first.
Well, I would say running up and down the court with the mask on. Since we practice in it every day, once you do it for a couple of days and you get going for weeks, it's really not that bad. I have noticed during the games, after you run up and down the court, I would probably say 9 out of 10 players have it under their nose, just because it's instinct when you can't breathe to let your nose breathe. So that is the instinct. So I would probably say after the first quarter, a lot of players aren't necessarily wearing their masks correctly, but you can't blame them. It's super hard to keep the mask up over your nose and mouth after running up and down the court. But I would say it's really not that bad. I would rather play with it on than not have a season at all.
Yeah, I agree. Volleyball really was not that difficult for me just because it's not as intense. Your blood's not pumping as much as it is whenever you're running up and down the basketball court. But I definitely had to get used to playing basketball. Not only wearing the mask, but just the conditioning in general. I haven't played since my freshman year. But I'm working on it, and with our games on Thursday and Friday, I'll let y'all know how it is next week.
I will say players do get tired a lot faster. So people start doing the slow jog up and down the court. So the teams that have more depth and are able to sub in players and still have skill deep within their bench are able to outlast the smaller teams throughout the games because they can sub people in and have fresh lungs and fresh legs throughout the whole game.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll be interested to see what they do whenever football season comes around as well.
Are they expecting players to wear the mask under their helmet?
I have no clue.
I have no clue myself, to be honest.
I would think so since they're making that, but who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see. Well, Jack, let's listen to your video, and then we're going to call it a night. But I'm certainly anxious to hear what the coach has to say. So here we go.
Hi, I'm Jack Lear here with NC Preps interviewing Coach Williford for Farmville Central. Just got a big win over South Granville. Coach, what was it like just to come in here and basically dominate the game?
Well, I mean, they're a quality opponent, and I'm sure we'll see them down the road. They're going to be a tough out. I think we're going to be a tough out. I liked our effort, our energy, and our enthusiasm tonight. I sent a text out to the team last night, and I said, if we bring the 3 E's, we're going to be in good shape. We've got a lot of players other than Jaquavion, and he draws so much attention. A lot of times, guys are wide open, and those guys stepped up and put the ball in the basket tonight.
Yeah, and so last time you guys played, Leonte Moy really had a big, dominant game. He had a great game today. What is it like to have a dominant big down in the paint that can really change the game?
Leonte's the X factor. And Leonte's checks in and is fully engaged in the game. We're on another level as a basketball team. I challenged him after last night's game. I didn't think his energy level was where I wanted it to be last night in our home opener. And, he brought it tonight. But a lot of other guys. I thought DC come off the bench. I thought Jaden Pitt shot the ball well. Don Tavis, his quickness defensively. I thought, we might not be as skilled as we were last year, but I know we're faster than we were last year. And that's going to wear on you for 32 minutes defensively. I mean, we are extremely fast. And I've told our guys over and over again, if we pressure the basketball, we move our feet, and everybody communicates as one, our defense is going to lead to offense. And I thought we got a lot of easy buckets tonight off of our defense.
Yeah, and so with this, a big part of Farmville Central is the big crowd and everybody getting super energetic. What was it like with the small crowd and still being able to keep the energy up?
Well, for my whole career, I've told my guys in practice, we practice with no one in here. It's just us and the coaches. And I tell them all the time, if you're playing for people sitting in the seats, then you don't love this game. And so this year kind of is a microcosm of everything we've tried to do in our basketball program, where we say, you're playing for the guy beside you, your brother. That's the guy that you're playing hard for. It's great to have these big crowds, and we wouldn't have been in COVID tonight. There would have been 1,900 people here in a sellout. But I think as the year goes on, it's going to be more special because you really are playing for that guy beside you, and that's what I've tried to sell them on, and that's what I've really tried to sell this basketball program on since I came here 21 years ago.
Yeah. Last question. Going into the rest of the season, what are some things that you can improve on to make your team even better and hopefully win another state championship?
Definitely, I thought the first 4 minutes, execution-wise, defensively, everything in our basketball program is predicated on the defensive end. We do what we're supposed to do on the defensive end, we're going to score baskets. I thought once we clean those up, which now you got film, you can go back and instead of me telling them, the film don't lie. And we can really break the film down and show it. I thought we had some breakdowns with the guy in the middle where the backside guy wasn't where he needed to be. And, we have some funky rotations in how we do some things, and it takes time because it's so unorthodox in what they've always done it, because it's not a regular 2-3 zone. It's an amoeba matchup, crazy type of situation that we're running. But I got to give credit to Ron Miller and Jeff Gainey. Ron Miller passed away with an all-time winningest coach at Southview High School, Hall of Fame in the North Carolina Hall of Fame. That was his defense, the bottle zone, and we put it in late last year, and we're kind of been riding it, throughout the beginning of this year. We really hadn't had enough practice time, but I knew we knew all the rotations, but it's paid big dividends.
Thank you, Coach, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Jack's awesome.
All right, Jack, great job talking to Coach there. He certainly got that team on a roll. Like you said, they're probably one of the best teams in the state. So great job to the Jaguars, isn't it?
Yes, they're the Jaguars.
That's right. I kind of lost track of my mascots there for a moment, but they got a great
for a while. I remember being at the state championship when they played East Lincoln and made that comeback. I mean, they were like down 10 points and come back in a matter of minutes and come back and beat East Lincoln with the Surratt brothers. That was a really cool game to watch.
Yep.
They put up points. Last year, they averaged like 89 points a game. I mean, they scored 95. They just scored 90. I mean, they score so much. They're one of the most fun teams to watch.
No kidding. Wow. And they got one of the nicest gyms in Eastern North Carolina as well. So I'd put it up there with a lot of them in the state. Maybe second, I don't know, maybe second to like a New Hanover. They got a really nice one as well.
Broughton. It kind of reminds me of like a scaled down version of Broughton because it has the 2 levels.
Yeah.
He said there'd be 18 to 19 people, 1,000 people, if there wasn't COVID.
People.
Yeah, 18, yeah.
Hey, you building the Dean Smith Center down there in Farmville?
Yeah. So yeah, it's a very nice gym, and they got a really nice team too. So
sweet. Well, guys, that's really all we've got for the night. Dina, any final words before of wisdom before we head on out to do our jobs?
Just I'm anxious to get more into basketball now since college football is over after Alabama winning their 13th national championship last night. So I'm ready to get in gear with basketball and then ready for some football. So just everybody keep doing what you're doing. Stay safe.
Yep.
Go
Heels. Hey, speaking of that game last night, I think that was an exclamation point, and I don't think there was any question they got the right Heisman pick winner this year.
Yes.
That kid, he shows that you don't have to be a prototypical size to be a football player at the Power 5 D1. The kid was 160 pounds, and now he won the top prize in college football and is a national champion. He's went with hard work. I've always said it don't matter what you are on the outside, is how much heart you have on the inside. That kid proved it. You don't have to be 6'2", 200 pounds to play wide receiver.
Yes.
He made himself into a very good football player.
Agreed. And I'm going to keep us here for 1 second. Also want to give a shout out to South Caldwell graduate Landon Dickerson, being able to come back and take the final 2 snaps at center. Probably one of the best centers and offensive linemen in all of the NCAA. Kind of went away with injury. Now, Tally, you probably won't know this, but I know your dad will. About 7 years ago, Kannapolis had a pretty good team. Beat Vance that year, had a really solid team, and lost in the first or second round to South Caldwell. And that's the first time I've ever saw one lineman just completely, thoroughly dominate all 5 of the other linemen on the other team, and that was Landon Dickerson, who obviously put on a show this year at Alabama. So great career for him. I don't know if any of you had a chance to see him play, but he was one dirty player. And by dirty and nasty, I don't mean like illegal. I just mean you better strap it on because he's good.
No, I actually do remember that game. I was on a bus, coach's wife bus with my mom, and we took 3 charter buses up there. One of them got sideswiped. Ours landed in the ditch, and like no one. We didn't get these like country boys to pull us out with their 4-wheelers, and then I think the other one ran out of gas or something, but I don't think we booked that company again. So
wow. And maybe speaking of Heisman, maybe next year we'll have a North Carolina kid in the conversation. We'll see.
Sam Howell, and I think Grayson McCall could really. I mean, he is. Wait, did he go to high school in North Carolina?
He went to Porter Ridge. Had a tremendous career. Yep. Yeah. I don't know if being at Coastal, if that's got enough oomph to get in the national picture, but
he'll get national attention though for sure.
I predict UNC. This year they were kind of 55, maybe 45 run pace. I think they're going to unleash Sam.
70%.
He's got a lot. I know they've lost a lot, but they've got a very young, talented wide receiver group. Garrett Walston from the Wilmington area, he's coming back. So UNC
running back from
getting a lot of love preseason. NC State, they got good news. One of their best players, Peyton Wilson from Orange, an all ACC linebacker, he's coming back. So it should be a very exciting season in the ACC, especially with Carolina and NC State. I'm excited to see what those teams can do.
Absolutely. Well, that's another show. We can talk about that all we want, but we're going to get out of here, guys. Chelsea, any final words from you? Tally, anybody?
I'm good.
All good.
That's good. Good show.
All right, guys. Enjoyed it. Have a great week, and we'll catch everybody next week.
All right.